Hi, everybody. Well, today has kind of been challenging, but it's gotten a lot better since I've been learning some new things and implementing new strategies. And so that way I could feel better, and I have been. It's just been kind of a struggle. Um, Man, sometimes I feel like I'm ready to say something, but I'm having a hard time multitasking, spitting it out. Anyway, tonight it was kind of frustrating just going to downtown Redwood City. I originally wanted to go to the beach and then go to the AA meeting tonight, but I just got so tied up in the kitchen because of the grocery shopping earlier and all that stuff I was trying to get done. Just didn't wasn't able to make it out to the beach and an AA meeting. But yeah, sometimes with the struggles that I got, sometimes I feel like such a loser, and I know I'm not a loser. You know, I'm a fighter. I'm a warrior. I'm getting better. So, and I am connecting with people, but sometimes it feels like I'm like when I'm walking downtown Redwood City, I see people that are like having dinner with their families and enjoying their time with their loved ones, their friends, and stuff like that. But unfortunately, mostly everybody's intoxicated. And I don't do that anymore. I don't miss it. I don't miss being the lonely guy at the end of the bar. It's like sometimes all my life it seems like why can't I just have a some companionship and camaraderie, someone that knows me and gets me and understands, you know, that I have things in common with that really like understands the root of me and I understand the root of them, instead of constantly going through this life just like feeling like an outsider on the outside looking in. That's why I don't drink anymore, because it just exacerbates everything. If I drink again, it's going to be like opening up Pandora's box, and it's going to be like, here we go again. Here comes a downward spiral. Here comes pour me, pour me, pour me another drink. It's just like I don't need that anymore. I'm just, I'm so grateful. I get in touch with people that I would like to be around, but they got their own thing going on, and it's like, yeah, I get it, but it's like I just get really sometimes frustrated not really having somebody that I can really jive with, but it's all good. That's why I've been starting to go to AA meetings again because I, people that have had problems with alcohol before, they get it, they understand, they know what's going on. And I've been connecting with a lot more people that in AA meetings and newcomers and people that are struggling currently with alcohol and giving them advice and tips and stuff like that and being a support system for them, because, we live a life where there's a lot of misinformation, a lot of miscommunication, and it's hard, or else, I wouldn't have had to like go to rehab several times myself and wouldn't have had to go through all that hell that I went through had I know how to take better care of myself in the beginning, And you grow up and I was fed well and told to drink my milk and eat my veggies and I love veggies and stuff and but then of course there's hamburgers and hot dogs and all the other stuff that makes you miserable, kind of like a dull human being, but you love it as a kid, but when you get older, it doesn't work anymore. And I eat healthy. I take care of myself so that way I could thrive in this life instead of like feeling like, my hands are tied behind my back and life is just beating the crap out of me. So yeah, it's just frustrating sometimes when I go out places and I don't feel connected. That's why I like AA meetings because it's something I could. I told them in the meeting the other day. I shared in the meeting, and I told them that I need to go somewhere where I can sink my my teeth in the material. Instead of all this fluff and BS and just like whatever. These like I could do small talk, but also like in-depth conversation and in-depth stuff that that really like hits home at real talk. Instead of pretending like everything's hunky dory and everything is fine and dandy when you're drinking, and everything's like, oh, everything's fascinating when you're drinking, but I'm getting to points now where things are fascinating when I'm sober. So I'm just like, this is so much better, so much liberating, so much more liberating, you know. But so AA makes me feel connected, because I've been feeling really disconnected being outside of UPS. Feeling now that I'm on disability, I haven't been working for a while, and I've been feeling, going to the beach is nice. Meeting new people, meeting people from Houston, no, not Houston, Holland, Israel, Pittsburgh, Canada. Yeah, just different places. It's nice because people are always happier at the beach because they're closest to nature. The air is good. The sands between your toes is good. Walking in the water is grounding. All that stuff. So it's just, yeah. That was great. I got to listen to some Michael Jackson music tonight by a live band, so that was great. That was great, and I had few few ladies, checking me out, and I was checking them out, so that was nice. You know, Nothing that gave me that that jumped out to me for me to make the approach, but still was nice. To have some lovely interactions today. So, let me see. Uh, yep, check that one. I'm gonna check that one. Yeah, so I was struggling all the time trying to like work in the kitchen and trying to figure out what to put in my body to make me feel better, more energetic. So it's hard, and I know a lot of stuff that the average person doesn't know. Getting rid of parasites and heavy metal toxicity in the body, and candida, mold, whatever. A lot of people don't know about that stuff. They just think they're just have personality disorders or whatever, but they don't realize that it's really toxins that are making them feel toxic and miserable. You know, you can't just take. I mean, some people that you could take a pill to like make you feel better one way or another, but the best thing to do is just to take care of your health and eat the right things, which I've learned through all the trial and error in my life, making tons of progress. Check that one off the list. I made an outline. Yeah, yeah. Seen a couple. I've seen one of the ladies that used to cut my hair, and she's like, "Who are you here with?" I'm like, "By myself." And it's like and several people ask me that I know or that I've come across before. I said, "Who are you here with?" I'm like, "Nobody. I'm just chilling, hanging out, walking off dinner." Yeah, so it's weird. And then I had a homeless guy whistling or something like that, and then I looked towards his direction, and then he's like talking aggressive at me, like he's gonna kick my ass and stuff. And then he said, just keep walking, you f word, And it's just like good lord, man. But I had a lot of today. I had a lot of different highs and lows, and then that was just one of them. It's just like, oh boy, it's like the devil's always trying to like knock you down. And tonight I felt like I was really triggered to where it's like I wanted to, that feeling that you want to go grab a drink, but it's like, why am I going to do that? I'm not going to do that to myself. I'm not going to punish myself. So yeah. it's just weird sometimes. That's why I like going to the beach. That's why I like going to where there's a lot of people, but that way there's like better chance of interactions with people, and so I could feel connected. I want to feel connected with people, and I had my naturopathic doctor tell me that sometimes people are toxic and whatever, and they're worse than environmental toxins or whatever. And yeah, I get that. It's like, you know, I just keep moving. I just keep moving. That's why I like where there's more people sometimes because, I'll just weed them out. I'll find the right chemistry. I'll find the right opportunity, and eventually it's weird still being single. Most of my friends are married and stuff like that. And it's just like, but life is not easy working for UPS. A job like UPS, you work, 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 work all the time. And it's just like, okay, well, it's kind of hard to have a functional relationship, especially if people's hormones aren't in check appropriately. So it could be really toxic. People don't know how to communicate, you know. It could be really bad, It's like I'm the last one that I don't want to be in a dysfunctional relationship. I don't want to get married in a divorce and have to lose 50% of what I've worked all my life for, So it's scary. So yeah, yeah, it's just freaking nuts. Anyway, I guess that's all I got. Grateful for another day. Grateful for all the things I got accomplished. But yeah, it's just weird sometimes. It's just weird sometimes. Life is, It's like, but I'm getting to a place where my body's getting cleaner. I'm feeling happier without anybody or anything sometimes. And but everybody needs somebody sometime. Anyway, buenas noches. That's all I got. I figured I was gonna write in my journal since I was in the mood and talk about some stuff. Oh, and I also been meeting some other people at AA meetings, and I've been talking to this lady from Santa Cruz, and she's really struggling with the stuff, her thing, and I got another friend, and he's started drinking again, and it's like, oh man, it's tough. This thing with alcohol, man, it's really tough because if you feel like crap, or if you want to laugh to enjoy music or watch something funny and you want to laugh because you're feeling too uptight, alcohol's always there for you. But then it always leads, one way or another, it always leads to, for some folks, it leads to the downward spiral, and that's unfortunate. So I'm glad to be able to go to meetings and like talk with newcomers and talk to people that have been through it, talk to the veterans that have been several decades sober. I got 3.5 years, and I'm super grateful for that. I see other people suffering with their hangovers around this place and stuff like that, and it's just like, I'm so glad I don't have to be there anymore. I'm so glad I don't have to be sitting at the bar by myself anymore, or wasting my money, wasting my hard-earned money. I don't have to do that anymore. And AA gives me a sense of purpose. AA gives me a sense of purpose, and right now I'm kind of lacking that sense of purpose, but AA is giving it back to me. That and going to the beach and meeting people there and going to other places and having wonderful interactions with other people because I'm clear-headed, I'm sober, and I'm doing pretty good. Despite my struggles with my health still, I'm still doing pretty good. So I'm grateful for that. Amen. Thank you. Buenas noches. Have a beautiful evening.